April 5th, 1943. Dawn breaks over the frozen plains near Kharkov, Ukraine. The ground shivers under the boots of German Panzer crews as frost bites through woolen gloves and steel helmets. Smoke curls lazily from the exhaust of Panther tanks lined like chess pieces, waiting. You can almost feel the cold steel vibrating under your fingertips. Colonel Friedrich Weber, commander of the 11th Panzer Division, squints at the horizon. "Those planes?" he mutters to his adjutant, Hans Miller. "Slow, clunky, like flying coffins, nothing but Russian scraps." Around him, laughter ripples through the ranks. Soldiers shrug, shrugging off the early morning tension with cigarettes and sarcastic jokes about Soviet engineering. From above, the first I-2 Sturmovix appear. Fat, stubby, armored like an impossible insect. Their engines roar a strange, throaty growl that cuts through the crisp air. The Luftwaffe liaison officer, Oberleutnant Karl Brandt, frowns. He's seen them on reconnaissance, sure, but only in grainy photos. He whispers under his breath, "They can't. They just can't." The soldiers continue their banter, oblivious. One even dares to yell, "Bring your Coffin down here, we'll see if it bites." The camera of your mind follows every rolling wheel, every tense hand on a throttle. You smell the diesel, the gun oil, the frost. Then the first dive comes. At 1,500 feet, a lone I-2 drops its load. The explosion rips through a Sherman replacement tank, more gut punch than machine. Dust, flame, and metal spray into the morning light. Soldiers freeze. Weber's laughter dies in his throat. His stomach twists. How could something so small do so much? Minutes pass. More Sturmovix dive, wings trembling from the armored load. Rockets shriek, cannons spit fire, and every armored target is struck with precision. The battlefield is transformed into chaos. The laughter has vanished, replaced by a harsh, metallic symphony of destruction. Panzer crews scramble, unprepared for this new predator. Hans Müller grabs Weber's arm. "Sir, what? How?" His voice cracks, disbelief coating every syllable. The flying coffin they mocked has become a nightmare they cannot outrun, cannot outgun. And somewhere in the wreckage, the Russian pilots, faces hidden beneath thick leather helmets, fly again, almost silently, ready for the next dive. A single, horrifying thought passes through Weber's mind. We laughed at them, and now they are laughing last. By mid-morning, the Panzer line is fractured. Smoke curls from twisted steel, and the acrid stench of burnt fuel hangs heavy in the cold air. Soldiers huddle behind scorched earth, shaking, trying to reload their 75mm guns as another Sturmovik dives low. The roar of its engine is more terrifying than any artillery shell. It seems alive, a steel predator hunting with a single unrelenting purpose. Captain Otto Reinhardt peers through binoculars at the advancing Russian formation. The first casualties are counted. 5 tanks gone, crewmen screaming into the freezing wind. Soldiers who had joked minutes ago are now trembling, faces pale beneath their helmets. One lieutenant whispers to his comrade, voice barely audible, They can't keep hitting like this, can they?" Meanwhile, Major Pavel Ivanov, a veteran Sturmovik pilot, sweeps low over the shattered battlefield. He sees Weber's remaining Panzer units trying to regroup. He smiles behind his visor. He has flown this route countless times, each dive practiced to perfection. He doesn't just drop bombs, he shapes fear, guiding destruction like an artist with fire. On the ground, chaos reigns. Ammunition dumps explode as stray rockets ignite, sending molten metal into the morning fog. Orders are shouted over the crackling radios, but the sound is swallowed by the noise of roaring engines and exploding tanks. German crews scramble to man anti-aircraft guns, but their rounds bounce off the Sturmovik's armored belly. It's as if the aircraft were untouchable. Weber rides atop his command tank, face pale, scanning the horizon for any sign of the Luftwaffe that could turn the tide. But there is nothing. No reinforcements. Just the steady, unrelenting hum of the IL-2s circling, diving, and leaving devastation in their wake. A creeping realization begins to sink in. This is no isolated strike. This is systematic annihilation. In one small clearing, a Panzer IV burns to the ground, the crew trapped inside. Smoke blurs the morning sun into a sickly orange glow. Mueller turns to Weber, eyes wide. "Sir, they're not stopping, and we have no answer." Weber swallows hard. His mind races. Every mockery, every joke about the flying coffin crashes down on him, and for the first time he wonders, have we underestimated them? Fatally? The sky seems to thrum with menace as another squadron of Sturmovix appears over the horizon. Weber tightens his grip on the tank hatch. Around him, silence replaces the chatter, the panic, the laughter. Only the sound of engines and distant explosions remain. Somewhere in that sound, a single, terrible truth echoes. Today, the battlefield has changed forever.
By late afternoon, the 11th Panzer Division is on the verge of collapse. Once confident officers pace nervously, scanning the horizon for threats they cannot comprehend. Smoke rises from the shattered remnants of their armor, like dark specters, curling into a sky now choked with ash and the groaning echoes of steel. Colonel Weber gathers what remains of his staff in a hastily dug trench. Maps are spread, but they are meaningless under the new reality. Anti-tank units fire blindly at the sky, rounds ricocheting harmlessly off the thick armor of the EL-2 Sturmovix. "We've never faced anything like this," mutters Oberleutnant Brandt, the words barely audible over the hum of engines. On the Russian side, Major Ivanov signals his wingmen. The Sturmovix dive again in perfect synchrony, each strike precise, each maneuver calculated. Rockets scream past trees, tearing into engines and treads, while the cannons carve twisted gashes into steel. The battlefield is now a symphony of terror orchestrated from above. Amid the chaos, a single German tank commander, Lieutenant Klaus Richter, sees something terrifying. A Panzer IV he was counting on to stabilize the line is obliterated by a direct hit. Crewmen are thrown clear, screams fading into the roar of engines. Richter's radio crackles with fragmented reports from other units. "We can't stop them. They're everywhere. Orders useless." Weber stares at the horizon, mind racing. Every plan, every tactical maneuver, every training drill seems futile against these low-flying, armored killers. He realizes the grim truth. The era of open Panzer dominance on the Eastern Front is over. These aircraft aren't just supporting the infantry, they are dictating the battle. And then it hits him, cold as the Ukrainian winter. The flying coffin they laughed at has shattered not only his division, but his confidence. Every jest, every underestimation has been weaponized against them. He swallows, heart pounding, and mutters the words that every officer fears to admit. "We are not ready for this. We may never be ready." In the distance, more Sturmovix appear over the horizon, engines like the growl of predators closing in for the kill. Weber looks at his men, their faces pale, their hands trembling on frozen steel, and wonders if they will survive the next wave. And then, just as suddenly as the first strike, silence falls, broken only by the distant, almost mocking hum of aircraft circling overhead. The battlefield waits, breathless, for what comes next. Night falls over the shattered plains near Kharkov, but the devastation is still visible in the orange glow of burning Panzer wrecks. The frozen ground is littered with broken treads, twisted metal, and the faint, haunting scent of burnt fuel. Officers huddle in makeshift command posts, faces drawn and haunted. Every radio transmission brings fragmented reports of annihilation, of units unable to regroup, of men frozen in terror. Colonel Weber sits alone in his command tank, staring at the blackened horizon. Smoke curls into the night like sinister fingers, illuminated by flickering fires. The laughter that filled the morning is gone, replaced by disbelief and the suffocating weight of failure. He fingers the map of his division, tracing the shattered lines with trembling fingers, knowing each mark represents a unit reduced to rubble. Across the battlefield, Major Ivanov prepares his final sorties for the day. He watches the remaining German tanks struggle to regroup, their movement slow, hesitant. The pilots exchange grim nods. They have carved a scar across the Panzer divisions that will take weeks to heal, if ever. Each dive has not only destroyed machinery, but confidence itself. The German officers no longer laugh. They whisper, they curse, they plan, but every plan feels hollow. Weber rises, pacing the interior of his tank. He mutters to no one in particular. "We thought we were untouchable, invincible, masters of the battlefield. And yet, we are being hunted." The truth hits like a frozen hammer. These flying coffins are more than aircraft. They are fear made manifest. An enemy that operates above, below, and within every expectation he ever held. Meanwhile, the surviving soldiers shuffle through the snow, dragging wounded comrades behind them, eyes darting skyward at every rumble of an engine. No one dares laugh, no one dares joke. Each shadow could be the next strike. And in the back of Weber's mind, the gnawing realization grows. The war he understood, the war he trained for, has changed. Completely. Forever. A distant scream pierces the night,
followed by the sharp metallic crack of a distant explosion. Weber freezes. The Sturmovix are not finished. They never were.